Hello everyone. So there have been a lot of times when I wanted to create some really cool and professional videos just like those big YouTubers out there. But then I realized that my computer isn't really as fast as theirs. But anyway, in this video I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can create some really cool and professional videos on your entry level or budget computer. Now I'm assuming that you have a computer which is powerful enough to run most of the video editing softwares out there, if not really very fast, but at least they do run. Now if you don't have a lot of money to upgrade to a faster computer, we'll compensate it with time. Now if you don't have both, well, you're f***ed. Anyway, budget computers usually have less amount of RAM and slower processors, but they are usually able to run most of the video editors, especially the free and open source ones. The main problem is the speed. The rendering and the loading times are usually quite slow on budget computers, just like mine. But the only way to get through all this is to have a lot of patience. So make sure you give editing quite a bit of time and you definitely won't regret it. For some reason, whenever it comes to someone choosing a video editor, they always seem to look for that one magical video editor which does everything. Now those kind of video editors are definitely available, but they do require a very powerful machine to run on. Now what do you do if you don't have a powerful machine? Well, the best thing to do is to have multiple video editors at your disposal. Heck, I use 2 or 3 video editors to edit one single footage, and I know it's a lot, but I don't really have any other options, do I? Now keep one software for maybe handling 3D tasks, one more for color grading, and one more for all the effects and stuff. Make it your playground, there are no restrictions. Now you might be thinking that won't editing my videos on multiple softwares ruin the quality of the videos? To that I will say no, not really, until and unless someone decides to watch your video on a really big screen. Try to plan things ahead of time and decide what you want to edit on which software. I typically leave my 3D composites to Blender or HitFilm, and I leave the color grading to DaVinci Resolve, as DaVinci Resolve runs pretty well on my low spec hardware computer, and I'll just have to do color grading, so it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, all in all, you'll have to be very smart with your video editing and not be lazy by just sticking to one video editing software. I know it's quite difficult, but there are no easy ways to create professional videos on a budget computer. Now if you want the easy way, you'll have to spend a lot of money. While we might get carried away with wanting to edit an entire scene of an Avengers movie, we'll have to keep in mind that our computers can only take a certain amount of tasks that we throw at it. Now if you don't have a graphics card, then don't expect yourself to do a lot of 3D visual editing or simulations simply because you'll end up in a crash. Now instead, embrace all the limited things that you can do and make everything look very appealing. Create basic effects, but do it better than everybody else. One thing that can easily make or break your video very quickly is how it was color graded. A video with bad color grading can easily make anybody think that it was created by an amateur, even if the quality of the visuals and the quality of the video itself were quite high. Now we all know that we don't really need a very high-end computer to do color grading. In fact, most of the free and open source video editing softwares, the lightweight video editing softwares, have dedicated color grading features in them. So make sure you get the color grading right, watch plenty of tutorials online on how to do it, and if you still think it's not right, then the best thing to do is to leave the video as close to natural as possible. Most beginners, myself included, have this particular thing in our mind. If we don't get a good enough shot, we can always fix that in post, right? Now the reality is, if you don't get a satisfactory shot to begin with, you'll never really be satisfied with the end results even after you edit them. Now besides, the more you edit your shot, the more layers you'll have to stack, and that's never really a good idea on a low spec hardware. Instead, nail your lighting, nail your focus and everything else so that you won't have to edit as much as you would otherwise on a poorly shot video. There are plenty of free websites where you can get some really cool stock footage to spice things up in your video. Now, depending on how and where you use them in your videos, you can get excellent results. I mean, I use stock footage on my videos all the time, and they really helped me up my production value without having to choke my computer to death. More often than not, I see people using way too many effects in their videos, which they probably don't even need. So the best thing to do is to use all the effects which you absolutely need and get rid of all the optional effects. Not only will this make your editing much faster and efficient, but will also put less load on your hardware. When you're editing any kind of footage, make sure you always use proxies. They help a lot in speeding things up. I even pre-render my videos. Yeah, they do take some time to do that, but once done, they make the workflow much smoother. Also use low resolution previews as much as you can, as it helps you play the videos smoothly without much of a lag. And most importantly, use auto caching, as this renders your footage in bits and pieces, and once all the caching is done, you can have a very smooth playback of your video in full resolution. Typically, most of the good video editors out there have all these features in them. Budget computers are usually more than enough for most of the video editing tasks, but what really hampers the performance is the heat generated by the components, which results in the thermal throttling of the CPU and GPU, which obviously slows down the computer. Typically, when it's a budget computer, good cooling often goes out of the window. So the best thing to do is to save up some money and invest in a good CPU heatsink and some cabinet fans. If you don't have that money, then shove a goddamn fan in that cabinet. Or if you have a laptop, then it's better to invest on one of those laptop cooling stands. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, or at least learned a thing or two from it. And if you have your own set of tips and tricks on how to edit professional-like videos on budget computers, do share them in the comment section down below with others, and I'll see you in the next one.